No one expected this political earthquake. Keir Starmer, once seen as the unshakable leader of the Labour Party, has been pushed to the edge. Behind closed doors, he broke down in tears as his party began to crumble before his very eyes. Labour. MPs are abandoning ship in droves, fleeing to Nigel Farage's Reform UK, sparking a wave of chaos that threatens to bring the entire British political system to its knees. What started as a narrow by-election defeat has exploded into a full-blown crisis that no one saw coming. And now, the future of the government hangs by a thread. The disaster began with the Runcorn and Galsby by-election, a seemingly small contest that turned into a seismic political shock. Nigel Farage's Reform UK snatched victory from Labour by the slimmest of margins, just 25 votes. But those 25 votes sent a message loud and clear: the old two-party system is breaking down. Reform UK, once dismissed as a fringe group, is now a serious contender, winning the hearts of voters who feel abandoned by both Labour and the Conservatives. The rise of this party has shattered Labour's confidence and exposed deep divisions within the party. MPs who once stood united behind Starmer are now openly defecting, accusing him of betraying the very working-class voters Labour promised to protect. The reasons behind this collapse are clear and unforgiving. Labour's recent policies have alienated their core supporters. Cutting winter fuel payments and tightening disability benefits during a cost-of-living crisis has been seen as a betrayal. While millions of families struggle to keep warm and feed their children, Labour MPs continue to enjoy generous salaries, creating a stark divide between politicians and the people they represent. Starmer's talk of grown-up politics has fallen flat, replaced by rising anger and frustration. The party's backbenchers, once silent, have erupted in rebellion. This is not just a political setback, it is a full-scale mutiny that threatens to bring the Labour Party to its knees. Insiders reveal that Starmer's breakdown after the by-election defeat was not just about losing a seat, it was the realisation that a far worse storm was brewing. Reform UK is no longer a distant threat. They are breaking into Labour's heartlands, chipping away at support with alarming speed. The polls confirm the worst fears. Labour's decline is accelerating, and Starmer's grip on power is slipping. The pressure is mounting. MPs are demanding answers and threatening to oust Starmer if he does not act decisively. With the party fracturing and defections growing, Starmer has been forced to call an early general election, not as a political strategy, but as a desperate last resort. He is cornered, running out of options as the walls close in around him. Meanwhile, the Conservatives are no better off. After suffering crushing losses in recent local elections, with over 600 seats lost, their leadership is also under siege. Cammy Badenoch struggles to steady the ship as Reform UK looms large, threatening to rip apart the traditional Tory base. Across the political spectrum, the old foundations are crumbling. Westminster is gripped by panic as mainstream media tries to calm the growing storm. But the truth is undeniable. Britain is on the brink of upheaval. Inflation is squeezing families harder than ever, NHS waiting lists are at record highs, and crime rates are rising. The political establishment's empty promises no longer fool anyone. People want change, and they want it now. In this climate of desperation, Nigel Farage's blunt, unscripted approach is winning hearts and minds. Reform UK speaks directly to millions who feel forgotten, unheard, and betrayed. This movement crosses traditional party lines, drawing support from disillusioned Labour voters, disgruntled Tories, and an ignored middle class. Starmer's attempt to please everyone has left him with no true allies, and the rebellion within his own party grows fiercer by the day. As the election looms closer, the stakes could not be higher. Britain faces not just a change in leadership, but a historic political realignment. This crisis is not just political. It is deeply personal for Starmer, who once promised calm, mature leadership, but now finds himself isolated and under siege. Adding fuel to the fire, Health Secretary Lucy Powell's recent controversial remarks on grooming gangs have plunged Labour deeper into turmoil. On BBC Radio 4's Any Questions, Powell's sarcastic response to serious questions about child abuse sparked outrage. Her dismissive tone and dog whistle comment were seen as belittling victims and stifling critical public discourse. Though she apologised, saying her frustration was aimed at political exploitation rather than the abuse itself, the damage was done. Reform UK seized the moment, using the controversy to rally more supporters and paint Labour as out of touch and insensitive to public concerns. Critics from all sides have condemned Powell's comments. Conservative figures like Nigel Huddleston branded them unacceptable and accused Labour of downplaying serious issues while avoiding transparent investigations. Calls for an independent inquiry into grooming abuses have intensified, with victim families demanding justice and accountability. Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting defended Powell, calling her misunderstood, but public anger continues to simmer. Starmer remains steadfast in backing Powell, but pressure is mounting for a major cabinet reshuffle, signalling deep uncertainty within Labour's ranks. The political landscape is shifting rapidly, and no one knows what the next chapter will bring. Starmer's Labour is bleeding support, MPs are defecting in record numbers, and Reform UK is capitalising on the crisis to expand its influence. The general election, once a distant event, has been thrust forward in the face of mounting rebellion and public fury. This is no longer a fight over policies. It is a battle for the survival of the party and perhaps the entire political system. As chaos erupts across Britain, the question remains: can Starmer recover, or is this the beginning of the end for Labour's dominance? The coming weeks will reveal the true scale of this political meltdown, the fallout from Labour's catastrophic by-election defeat and subsequent wave of defections to Reform UK has sent shockwaves through Westminster, triggering an unprecedented political crisis that threatens to destabilise the entire British government. This upheaval is not just a temporary disruption, it signals a profound realignment of the UK's political landscape, with long-term consequences that could reshape party politics for years to come. The traditional dominance of Labour and the Conservatives appears to be crumbling, as voters increasingly turn to alternative voices like Nigel Farage's Reform UK, which has capitalised on widespread public discontent and disenchantment with the status quo. This shift reflects deep-rooted frustrations among the electorate, particularly in working-class and suburban areas that once formed Labour's core base. Many of these voters feel abandoned by both major parties, perceiving them as out of touch, self-serving, and incapable of addressing the everyday struggles faced by ordinary Britons. The growing appeal of Reform UK stems from its ability to tap into these grievances with a straightforward, uncompromising message that rejects political correctness and promises to shake up Westminster. As Labour grapples with the loss of MPs and a collapse in voter confidence, internal divisions have intensified, exposing rifts that threaten to tear the party apart from within. Starmer's leadership, once seen as a beacon of stability and pragmatism, is now viewed by many as ineffective and out of touch with the realities faced by his supporters. The defection of prominent MPs has created a domino effect, emboldening others to question Starmer's direction and leadership style. This rebellion has led to a fracturing of the party, with factions forming around competing visions for Labour's future. Some members argue for a return to more traditional left-wing policies that prioritise social justice and economic equality, while others advocate for a centrist, moderate approach aimed at appealing to a broader electorate. This ideological battle has paralysed decision-making within Labour, leaving it vulnerable at a time when unity and clear messaging are desperately needed. The pressure on Starmer has also been compounded by a series of damaging revelations and controversies that have further eroded public trust. Labour's handling of sensitive issues, such as welfare cuts and healthcare funding, has alienated many voters, who feel the party no longer champions their interests. The party's perceived tolerance or insufficient response to allegations of anti-Semitism and internal bullying has also contributed to a negative public image, distracting from policy debates and undermining credibility. In parallel, the controversy surrounding Health Secretary Lucy Powell's remarks on grooming gangs has amplified criticism and fueled accusations of Labour being disconnected from public concerns about crime and social cohesion. These issues, have dominated headlines and become rallying points for Reform UK, which portrays itself as the party of law and order and moral clarity, in contrast to Labour's perceived moral ambiguity. Amidst this turmoil, the Conservatives are far from secure, despite being the primary opposition to Labour. The Tory party's own woes, stemming from recent electoral defeats, leadership instability and internal disputes, have weakened its ability to capitalise fully on Labour's misfortunes. Reform UK's rapid ascent presents a significant threat to the Conservative vote as well, appealing to right-wing voters frustrated with Boris Johnson's successors and the Conservative Party's handling of issues such as immigration, economic management, and national identity. The political landscape is increasingly fragmented, with a three-way battle emerging between Labour, the Conservatives, and Reform UK, making the next general election unpredictable and highly competitive. Analysts warn that this fragmentation could lead to hung parliaments or coalition governments, fundamentally altering how power is negotiated and exercised in Westminster. The broader socio-economic context further intensifies the crisis, as Britain faces a multitude of challenges that have heightened public anxiety and demand urgent government action. Inflation remains stubbornly high, eroding real incomes and deepening hardship for millions of families struggling with soaring energy bills, food prices, and housing costs. The National Health Service is under unprecedented strain, with record waiting times, staff shortages, and growing patient backlogs fueling widespread dissatisfaction. Rising crime rates and concerns over public safety have also become focal points in political debates, with voters demanding tougher policies and clearer leadership. In this environment, the political establishment is viewed by many as failing to deliver effective solutions, opening the door for populist and outsider movements like Reform UK to gain traction. Public trust in traditional politicians is at an all-time low, and voter turnout patterns suggest increasing volatility and unpredictability in electoral outcomes. Starmer's response to the crisis has been cautious and measured, reflecting both the complexity of the challenges and his political instincts. While he has pledged to address internal party issues and reconnect with Labour's base, critics argue that his actions have been too little, too late. The call for an early general election, initially seen as a bold move to reset the political landscape, is now widely interpreted as a desperate gamble to salvage what remains of Labour's credibility. Behind the scenes, there is growing concern about the party's readiness to face a general election under such hostile conditions. Campaign infrastructure is strained, messaging is inconsistent, and morale among activists and volunteers is low. Starmer's team is also grappling with how to counter Reform UK's narrative effectively without alienating moderate voters or exacerbating party divisions. The tightrope walk between appealing to disaffected traditional supporters and retaining broader appeal has never been more precarious. Media coverage has played a crucial role in shaping public perceptions during this crisis. While mainstream outlets have largely portrayed Labour's troubles as a leadership failure, alternative media and social platforms have amplified Reform UK's rise and starved Labour of sympathetic voices. Starmer's public appearances have been scrutinised intensely, with any sign of weakness or hesitation magnified to fuel speculation about his leadership's viability. The contrast between Starmer's cautious style and Farage's confrontational populist approach has drawn sharp lines in public debate, polarising voters, and further deepening political divisions. Political commentators and pundits are divided over Labour's prospects, with some predicting a rapid rebound if the party can regroup, while others warn of a prolonged period of decline and irrelevance. Internationally, Britain's political instability has attracted attention from allies and observers concerned about the implications for global diplomacy and economic stability. The government's ability to negotiate trade deals, manage foreign relations, and maintain confidence among investors is seen as at risk if domestic turmoil persists. Starmer's position as Labour leader is also viewed in this context, with questions about whether he can present a credible alternative government capable of restoring order and stability. As the election approaches, the stakes are higher than ever, not just for the future of Labour, but for the future of the United Kingdom itself. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether Starmer can stem the tide of defections, rebuild trust with voters, and mount a serious challenge to reform UK's insurgency, or whether Labour's collapse will accelerate, fundamentally altering Britain's political map for a generation.